Hi, I am Addy from anicaps Recap, and this is the anime recap of episode 6 of Shangri-La Frontier. Previously, we followed Raku, who continued his journey to Thirdrama along with Emil. However, they soon came across a swamp, and after killing the area boss the Mud Digger, Raku tries to get to Thirdrama but was attacked by a girl carrying a skull mark in front of her name. The story continues when the girl removes her mask and introduces herself as Arthur Pencilgun. Raku realizes that the girl in front of him is his worst enemy, as their history goes back to another trash game known as Unite Rounds, also called a post-apocalyptic looting simulator. The game was initially meant to simulate a kingdom on the verge of collapse, with players taking on the roles of knights to protect it from the continuous monster attacks. In the beginning, the game was a massive success. However, due to poor design and the low item drop rate, only a handful of players continued to play it. Even the game's beginner quest, in which players had to gather medicinal herbs, was a challenge and required more than 12 hours to complete. When the higher grade items became increasingly harder to find, players simply started looting whatever they could find. And this changed the game's environment, where everyone became your enemy. In a game like this, a player named Knight Pencil rose to take control over the kingdom. We then see a group of players looting an item shop, and just as they are running away, they are confronted by Raku, who dispatches them easily. He then, along with his friend Katso, continues to loot whatever they can find. Katso asks Raku about the game's original concept of defending the kingdom from monsters, but Raku states that in this game the real monster is Pencil Knight. He calls her a big bad as she has changed the very concept of the game, and intentionally abuses other players she doesn't like. She has gone one step further and used her agents to blend in with other players, creating an organized resistance against her, which she later crushes with force, destroying the will to fight back in her enemies. Raku wonders if he should get into assassination, as all the Unite rounds at the time were controlled by Pencil Knight. He then opens a door and enters a room where Pencil Knight awaits him. It turns out Raku used the rebel army as a distraction and manages to enter her chamber. Upon coming face to face with his worst enemy, Raku challenged Pencil Knight for a fight to become the next revolutionary knight. She gets up, takes out her sword, and accepts Raku's challenge for a final boss fight. In the present time, Raku is now face to face with her again in Shangri-La Frontier. He remembers in the Unite rounds they fought each other, and the match ended in a draw with both of them dying in the end. However, things were different back then, as now Pencilgun has a huge level and weapons gap. Before things start to heat up, Raku tells Emil to take cover, as he has no other option but to fight Pencilgun. She jumps at him, but Raku manages to dodge her initial attacks and gets away from her. She then throws multiple knives at Raku, which he blocks with the Vorpal blades. She mockingly asks Raku about his current level, as if he was able to defeat the Mud Digger easily, then he should be around level 30. As they are talking, Animalia realizes that Pencilgun is the second in command of the player-killing clan called Ashurakai, also known as the Giant Killers. Even worse, Emil begins to transform back into a bunny. Her ears have already grown, and she is doing her best to cover them. Upon realizing that Pencilgun focuses on ambushing high-level players, Raku taunts her, stating that if she were such a high-level player killer, she shouldn't have died at his hands in Unite rounds. This provokes her, and she begins attacking Raku furiously. Animalia watches in disbelief as both of them go on a rampage and doing everything to kill each other. Pencilgun launches a series of attacks, and so far, Raku is blocking everything she's throwing at him. As they continue fighting, Pencilgun delivers a message from her clan leader, who wants Raku to publish information about the unique scenario of Rabatuza, or else everyone will be after him. Raku calls her clan leader an idiot and tries to attack Pencilgun, but due to the huge level and weapons gap, she is able to easily counter his moves. He realizes that Pencilgun is trying to stop him from entering the city, as she challenges him in front of the city gates. Meanwhile, Emil's condition is starting to worsen, as she now has a tail and ears popping out of her. Animalia notices that Emil is a bit different, and just when she touches her, Emil completely transforms into a bunny in her hands. She couldn't believe her eyes, as she has a talking Vorpal bunny in her hands. Raku realizes that the situation is getting out of his hands and uses a repel counter move to get away from Pencilgun. He then calls Emil and starts running toward the city gate. As he is getting away, Animalia asks him to at least let her have a screenshot with Emil, and Raku promises to think about it if he survives this mess. Pencilgun begins to chase after Raku, but gets stopped in the middle with a huge explosion. To save Emil, Animalia has challenged Pencilgun, giving Raku an opportunity to enter the city. However, something stops him in his tracks. It turns out Pencilgun wasn't alone, and 4 more members of her clan are there to hunt Raku and Emil. They all lunge towards Raku, and he tries to get away while dodging their attacks. On the other side, Animalia prepares for an attack and launches a powerful curse spell at Pencilgun, hitting her head on. However, Pencilgun's armor absorbs all the curses and blasts them back at Animalia. This knocks her out, leaving her HP at a mere 8% and continuously falling due to the curse's effect. Animalia wonders how Pencilgun was able to withstand a direct hit, and she takes out a karmic straw doll from her armor. Through this item, she was easily able to reflect Animalia's curse spell. On the other side, Raku is trying to get to the city gate, but being surrounded by 4 players is proving to be the worst situation for him. Just when he is studying their attack patterns, a huge shadow appears on top of him. Somehow, Rei was able to find Raku and uses a move called Rook Smasher. The attack is powerful enough to kill one of the 4 players without breaking a sweat. Raku watches in disbelief and wonders if the person standing in front of him is also an enemy. On the other hand, Rei is happy to finally meet the bird face and save his ass from a bunch of losers. She remembers when she was at an inn in Secondale and got a message from her sister wanting her to pause her private player hunt and find Raku. For reference, she sent her his last picture taken by the girls. We see Rei using a fast running move and getting towards Third Rima faster than Usain Bolt. She took this opportunity as a way to finally meet Raku and see him fighting with the members of the Ashura Kai clan. And that's how we get to the present moment. Just when Rei kills one of the members of the Ashura Kai clan, she gets Pencilgun's attention as well, who is happy to see an attack master like Rei. But before she attacks her, Animalia calls Pencilgun from behind. It turns out Animalia is still alive and states that she hit her with 5 spells, reminding that the karmic straw doll, even though very powerful but can only reflect 5 curses. She then takes out a staff and prepares for the final attack. The hand of the staff opens itself in a creepy way, and this is where this episode ends. Thanks for watching this anime recap. Subscribe and hit the bell icon for more anime recaps like this. I will see you in the next video.